to be a martyr? Should they be?
Thanks for having me on. Listen, I don't want to hear about cancel culture or hear any whining from the left, the same political movement that spent years and years and years trying to silence, censor, and deplatform conservatives for simply saying that men can't get pregnant. What's happening here is a recognition, I think, from many people in our country that in order to have free and open debate, we have to agree on certain basic presuppositions. And one of those is that political violence is wrong, it's evil, it's abhorrent, and it cannot be tolerated in any way. And that includes by running cover for the person who murdered a major political figure and trying to say that it was the right that did it. That is a disgusting lie. It's not funny, and it has no place in our public discourse.
I saw today Jerry Moran, Republican. He said, quote, "I'll be very cautious, conservatives, about free speech. You know, obviously, if a Democrat gets in, are they going to go after you guys?" Brett Guthrie, another Republican, chairman, says we have to be extremely careful about this. He's of Kentucky. Do you have any reservations and worry about should somebody else get in power, they'll turn around and knock off your favorite show or your favorite network?
Listen, we've already dealt with that. We saw what the Biden administration was doing, sending emails to social media companies telling them to censor specific Americans for protected First Amendment speech. But incitements to violence are not protected speech. I think it's abhorrent. Remember, these are private companies who have decided that they don't want that to be the face of their outlets. They don't think that it makes sense for them to have a comedian on the air who is making light of a political assassination. I think that's something that most Americans should be able to agree with.
Right. Meanwhile, it was a couple of years ago when people were asking Jimmy Kimmel about his ratings and the fact that everything's anti-Trump and no Republicans watch. Listen to what he said.
So you don't mind if Republicans turn off your show?
I don't say I don't mind. I mean, I love for everyone. I want everyone with a television to watch the show. But if they're so turned off by my opinion on health care and gun violence, then I don't know. I probably won't want to have a conversation with them anyway.
Good riddance?
Well, not good riddance, but riddance.
So he thought it was funny. I mean, to me, that would be a disaster if I thought I was trying intentionally turning off and telling 50% of the country to go jump in a lake.
Well, you know, they did turn off his show. They stopped listening to him. That's why ratings were down. And eventually, I think broadcasters realized nobody wants to hear hateful somebody who is hatefully running cover for somebody who is assassinating a political figure. That's why people aren't watching shows like this, and that's why he was taken off the air. This is not a violation of free speech. President Trump did not force ABC or Disney to fire Jimmy Kimmel. Neither did the FCC. That was their decision, and it was the right decision. Nobody is watching these shows because they're bad. They're not funny anymore. Nobody enjoys watching them because they are so political and so partisan. And whenever you turn on late night TV, you want to be able to relax, to hear a joke, to be able to unwind a little bit, not to hear Democrat talking points.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I watched David Letterman in college. I actually didn't know until he came out against John McCain what party he was even pulling for. He was just being funny. Now, obviously, he's way to the left, and he's very upset tonight. But I want to hear you, Senator Padilla. He weighed in yesterday. Democrats made this their number one issue. Watch.
Now, what happened to Jimmy Kimmel last night, and Stephen Colbert for that matter, isn't just about one comedian or one television personality or any one network. It's about whether we as Americans still have the freedom to laugh at those in power.
I'm not sure if he was going to cry or not. That's his delivery. But did you hear about this on the hall, in Capitol Hill today? Because is this the number one issue in America?
You know, this is something that Republicans are talking about. And you know, the problem is that he wasn't making jokes to laugh at President Trump. He was making jokes to laugh at somebody who was assassinated. And that's his core problem. You know, we hear a lot of calls for unity right now, that we should all come together and condemn political violence. And we certainly should. And we should be able to. But this is a problem on the political left. Polling shows over and over again that more people on the political left believe that political violence can be justified at some times. That about 25% of people, in fact, who are identify as very liberal believe that political violence can sometimes be justified. That number is 3% for very conservatives. 3% is too many, but 25% represents a systemic problem on the left that they need to be dealing with. And they're not dealing with it by laughing at Charlie Kirk's assassination. This is something they need to be taking a lot more seriously.
And it's something that Kimmel's talked about. He had a great time when it came out that Donald Trump was being kicked off every social media platform, including Twitter. The year was 2021. Watch.
It's been unusually quiet over the past few days because Trump has been banned from Twitter permanently. Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave.
Congressman Gill, your final thought? I mean, this is a guy that had no problem when Trump was having problems for 4 years when he was out of office.
You know, leftists deplatformed conservatives at the direction of the federal government for not believing in COVID vaccine, what they believe to be COVID vaccine science. Democrats went after Republicans, tried to get them fired from their jobs for saying that men can't become women. So I don't want to hear any of this about cancel culture from the left.
Congressman Gill, thanks so much. Appreciate it.